Well, here we are, week 9, and we're going to actually had a request for sheet metal, which I actually thought was a great idea until I started to do it. I haven't done sheet metal probably in, God, 5 years, maybe 6. Anyway, but it was a great idea because there are jobs out there doing sheet metal in any kind of HVAC sheet metal shop. It's all done in 3D AutoCAD, not necessarily Inventor, but could be SolidWorks, could be Inventor. A lot of times there's proprietary software that sheet metal shops have that go with the machines that they work with. And essentially what we're doing here is we are creating a sheet metal object here, and what you have to remember is that it has to be cut out of a flat sheet to begin with. And there are some things that we need to deal with, and those are called bend allowances. We call it a K factor in here, but there is this bend allowance that we have to deal with, and it's really important. It's a set of formulas that have been tried and true, that we know depending on the material, whether it's aluminum or steel or brass or plastic, there is a bend allowance that we have to take into consideration. So when we create a piece that's actually longer than we want it to be to compensate for that bend allowance that's going to be happening in these little joints here as we bend it up. And so this is one of the things that the software takes into consideration. So it's a really powerful thing. It means you don't have to do a lot of math, which is always good for me. So we're going to be banking this part here in a little bit, but I want to show you some basic things before we get going down this highway. You're going to find this can be a little challenging, possibly a little frustrating. So we're not going to do it as a project because we're not going to be having parts that we're going to do assemblies with. We're going to be doing it as an individual object. So I'm going to go to New. I'm going to go into English, and I'm going to go pick sheet metal. And I'm going to go OK. And here we are. Now we're right here in our sketch environment, which is we're all familiar with by now. But we have something new up in our tabs, and that's called sheet metal right up here. And I'm going to pick on it. And you can see there's some highlighted things already, contour flanges and rolls and things like that. And the most important thing is right over here, which is the sheet metal defaults. And I'm going to click on that because before we can do anything in sheet metal, we have to set up our defaults. We have to say, hey, what kind of sheet metal do we have? Okay. So these little pencils here on the side tell us that the information behind this little drop down is editable. Not edible, but editable. And I'm going to open that up. And here we are in the basic thing. And the first thing we see, there's a default over here, but we don't want to use the default. We always want to leave it alone. So we're going to go New. And I'm going to go in here and I'm going to type in 16 gauge mild steel. I'm going to go OK. And then I'm going to double click on it because you can see default is still highlighted. I'm going to double click on 16 gauge mild steel, which makes it the highlighted material that I'm working with. And I'm going to go in and change some of the defaults in here. One of the first things I'm going to go in here and change is I'm going to change the thickness of my material. Okay, and I'm going to type it as 0.0625. That is my thickness of my material, which is essentially 1/16. I'm also going to go up here and say what kind of material I want. And I'm going to scroll down here. I'm going to find steel. And there is mild right there. And I'm happy with that. So I've got my mild steel. I've got my thickness. And I'm going to go over here and I'm going to click on this unfold rule because we got to do something over there. What happens is it says, do you want to save your edits? So I'm going to go yes. Now we've dropped in to the unfold rule, which has to do with our special K factor value. Okay, and I'm not going to change the default one. I'm going to create a new one, and I'm going to call V bend 16 gauge mild steel. And you can see obviously that you could create a template that had all these things in there and that you wouldn't have to do this every time. But we'll just do this for right now. just so we keep we understand it and learn how. The one thing I'm going to change in here, the stock was the K-factor stock value. Default was 0.44. I'm going to go 0.41 for this. And then I'm going to go to Done and Save Edits. You bet I'm going to save my edits. Now that we've saved those edits, I need to make sure that everything's, you see up here the sheet metal rule, that gives me my choices of the default or the 16 gauge. I need to change this one down here, and there is my V bend. Make sure that's highlighted, and I'm good to go there. Now I need to go back into my steel metal rule and open that up again, and I need to change tabs up here. Notice we have three little tabs: sheet, bend, and corner. I'm going to go to bend this time, and this is a straight bend that's telling us in here, but I don't want that. I want a round bend. Okay. And then I need to change one thing, and it says bend radius. Now don't delete the word thickness. Just leave the word thickness, click behind it, and then do an asterisk, which is the shift key and the number 8, which creates an asterisk, and then 1.5. And then we're going to go Done. And you want to save the edits? And notice that we're still highlighted up here, 16 gauge mild steel. That's important. And go yes. Now we got 16 gauge mild steel. We got our sheet metal rule. And I believe I want to unclick this right now because I want to keep my thickness of 0.0625. And I'm going to hit apply. And we should be done with that aspect of it. Now we're going to go and we're going to create a drawing, okay? So we're going to go up here and we're going into our sketch, which is already highlighted here. And I want to go create 2D sketch. And I don't know if this is going to let me do it or not. I want to go into model. Nope, I got to get in here and just go edit sketch. There we go. And that, while I'm in the model space, that gives us back into our sketching tools. I'm going to grab a rectangle here. And I'm going to go 5, tab 5. Oops. I hit 6, but tab 5. 5, tab 5. There we go. And that makes this a nice big rectangle that we have. I'm going to get it around the front so I can work on this a little bit. And then I'm going to go in here and I'm going to make another rectangle. And I'm going to just draw it over here. And I'm going to go 1, tab 1. And hit enter. And then I'm going to go up here. One of these things that you guys don't like, I'm just going to go move for the first one. I'm going to pick my base point, which is this point right there, and I'm going to move it right over to here. And done. Oh, it didn't do it. Move. Okay, so select my object, pick my base point, and then move it right over to here. Okay, and done. Then I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to go copy, select my object, grab my base point, and move it down here. Okay, and then I'm going to drop one there and there, and escape. And then I'm going to go back to move, and select my object here. Come on, don't do this to me. Move, select my object, hit my base point, grab the base point, bring it down here on the corner and put it there. I know, Aaron, you're hating this, aren't you? And I'm going to select my object, hit my base point, and pick my base point and put it on the corner. And right click and done. And then I'm going to go to trim, and I'm going to trim this out. Trim, and oh, you know why? It's got dimensions. It hates doing that when it has dimensions. So I think it's I don't know if it's the 5 or the 1s that are killing me, but we'll find out really quick. And trim, and why is this not letting me do this? Okay, well, I'm going to cheat then. If you're going to be this way, I'm just going to throw these away, and I'm going to trim these. There's always more than one way to skin a cat. Okay, let's trim this. Oh, are you kidding me? So I'm having to throw all these away. Now I can do whatever I want. Trim. Bang, bang, bang. Get rid of that. And that one, and that one. Now I can draw some lines. I bet there's an easier way to do what I just did, but I was trying to make it easy, but the damn lines were killing me. And enter, and line, and enter, and line, and enter, and line. There we go. So essentially I have a box 5x5 with 1-inch corners in it. I'm going to go finish sketch. Okay, right click. I don't have to go right click, but I do go to sheet metal for the first time. And we see this little thing called face. And just so you know, that was missing when I started to do this about 2 days ago. I had to reload my software to get this. I don't know what happened. Anyway, there we go. Now notice the thickness is already preset for us because we've already done that. And we're going to go apply. And then I'm going to go close that out. And one of the things I want to do is just verify. I'm going to go up here to my little bar up here that has my measurement distance in it. I'm going to zoom in and pick on that corner, and it should say 0.063, which is great, which is 0.0625 rounded off. And we're happy that I've got that. So we have our first piece of sheet metal we've ever played with. Well, the first thing I want to show you is about flange. Here we go. We're going to go to flange. And flange, what we're worried about here is a distance, how long a flange we want. So I'm going to make this one 2 inches. I'll make this a 2-inch flange. Okay, we're doing it at 90 degrees. And we're also going to go to the outside of the base. So I'm going to pick that. I'm going to come around here and pick. It doesn't matter which corner you do, but I got to pick it, select an edge. If you hit select, it's handy. You can select more than one if you wanted to. You could come around and select 2. And then you can play with them. Make it fly. Okay, it's a little bird. It's flying back and forth. And that's just picking the direction. Okay, so I got those 2. And I'm going to go apply. And look at that. We now have our little sheet metal. I'm going to do, while we're here, I'm going to go back and I'm going to change this to 1. And I'm going to change this to 45. And I'm going to select, and I'm going to select one edge here. And I'm going to make it fly back and forth so you can see it. And I'll make it go the other way and go apply. Then I'm going to swing around over here. And I'm going to go to 15 degrees. And I'm going to go pick an edge, select, and I'll pick this edge right there. And I'm going to apply and go OK. So here is my little piece of material that I've put all these little goofy little angles on. It's pretty cool. And then I want to show you the magic thing. Right over here on the far right hand side is a thing that says create flat pattern. Now this is what you pay the big bucks for. 1, 2, 3. Wow, look at that. There it is. It's absolutely flat. Okay, we took this pattern that we created and did those things, and we said we want to make it flat. And one of the things that's kind of interesting about that is if I go in here and do some dimensioning, you're going to see some pretty unique dimensions. Yeah, 875, and then we got here. Okay, and that one is 6989. That has to do with this K factor thing. And even though the dimensions that you knew was 5 across, and in this case 1 inch up, so that should be a total of 7 inches. It is not 7 inches, it's short that. And this one here, what was that one again? This one was, this should be a total of 5 plus 2 plus 2, which should be 9, and you can see how much shorter it is. So it's just really, that's one of the things that you're paying the money for in Inventor, is to do this mechanical factoring in for the K factor. Well, while we're here, let's do something else. Let's go up to, let's go in here and right click, and let's go new sketch. I'm going to draw a sketch on the side here. And let's go in here, let's draw a rectangle. And I'm not even going to worry about dimensioning it. I'm just, because it doesn't matter. You know how to dimension by now, I hope. And I'm going to go finish sketch. And I'm going to go cut. And I'm going to go pick that and I'm going to go to a distance of all, and I'm going to go OK, and pow, we just cut a hole through the whole thing. Okay, we just knocked a hole right through that. Okay, now what if we wanted to fold something? I got this little thing called fold up here. Okay, it's going to require a sketch, so I'm going to go new sketch, and I'm going to draw a line, and I'm going to make this a construction line, and I'm going to go from the midpoint here to the midpoint here, and I'm going to go finish sketch, and then I'm going to go to fold, and I'm going to go grab this fold line, and notice the little two little red lines. That's telling you how much radius it's going to have to create to do this. And we have different choices. We can start the bend on either side. We can start the bend to the one side, or we can start the bend to the other side. But we're just going to keep it in the middle for right now. Okay, and I got a 90-degree bend going there. I'm going to go apply, and you notice it just folded it right up on top of that. Okay, and we'll get out of here, and I think I'll come around here and we'll do this on the same thing. Again, I'm going to go new sketch, pick a plane. I'm going to go to my construction line. I'm going to draw a line, and let's see what happens when we do an angle. I don't even know if I haven't played with this at all. Okay, and then escape, right click, finish sketch, and go to sheet metal, and go back into fold and pick my line. Looks like I can, and I'm going to go apply, and there it did. It bent it. Okay, there it is, and it bent it at an angle. This is a pretty amazing little piece of programming here. I'm really impressed. And then the big bucks thing, 1, 2, 3, folding it flat, and it shows you all your geometry here that goes with your bends. Okay, pretty darn cool. Okay, I think that's a good start for you. I'm going to draw this up and give you some dimensions of that so you can play with it. And this should be the first thing you're going to do. I'm going to do a few more of these of simple things to do, and then we'll start something a little more complicated.